Commander Cockings and Captain Foley here today for another Trekyards mission briefing, the more relaxed, chilled discussion show taking a look at a ship with the Starship universe, discuss, theorise and get audience feedback to help us with a full Trekyards episode on that ship later in the future.
Now, today's ship is one of my favorites. And why do you think that is, Samuel?
Well, I'm going to take a wild guess, and the picture on screen might help. TOS era, maybe? TOS style, something to do with TOS, maybe?
You're absolutely right. You get a prize? I'm not quite sure what that is yet, though.
To do a show with you?
Yes, that's the prize. Congratulations. You must feel so honored. So today's topic is the TOS Ptolemy class tug.
Which one is that? There's lots of different ships there.
That's the one that's carrying the cargo containers. Yes.
The one that's two of them. Oh.
This is a cargo and supply ship which can carry various cargo containers of different lengths and configurations, making this a pretty versatile type of ship. As for size, the Ptolemy is about 222 meters long, with the TOS Connie coming in at 289, and the Saladin class Scout at about 242 meters. So let's get right into the discussion, shall we?
So this is kind of like the TOS next gen warp-abled Botany Bay with a saucer and nacelles and anyway. So
and awesome, yes.
Yeah. So this next picture is a great shot. It almost looks drawn. I don't know. It's got a really nice style, and it's the Ptolemy outside Jupiter. And it's also got 3 tug containers. Interesting look.
Yeah, I like how they do the tug design. I mean, those cargo containers make sense to lock together. I think that's a great configuration, and you can make them pretty much any length in space, I would imagine. So, very cool.
So you can have 20 back.
Well, I don't know. I guess the warp field would only extend so far. I don't know if they can actually go to warp when they're pulling those. We'll have to do some research when we do the episode to find that out, I guess.
Well, I mean, if it's designed this way, I mean, it's just a saucer. You can imagine that they might... there's not much coming forward of the saucer. You can imagine they would focus it back. I'm sure you could, but I'd get 3 might be their maximum sort of thing. But no, it's certainly a cool design, and it's not what you think of when you think of TOS. You know what I mean? It's different.
Yeah, but it fits beautifully in with the fleet. It really does. Yeah. So the next picture is kind of a cutaway, and you get to see the cargo containers there. Sorry, what?
You get to see what makes it tick.
Yes, exactly. Not much to say, really. I mean, it's cool that it's like the Saladin class Scout with the deflector dish hanging down on the bottom there, which is really neat.
I mean, I've seen a couple of things, but I mean, it works. One thing I noticed, if you look at the bottom piece, so the bridge is actually slightly higher up, I think, on a normal Connie, and so there's a torpedo launcher, photon torpedo launcher, at the front of the saucer, just underneath the bridge. Interesting place to put it.
But bigger bridge design is more like the cage style ships, or Constitution class. They did a bit bigger bridge module on top, so.
That's cool though. I like that. It's probably quite well armed, because you wouldn't. And where else are you going to put it? There isn't really much space.
Sure.
And speaking of that, if you look right at the edge of the saucer, there's just 2 conference rooms, like right on the edge. You can touch the edge, and there's space while you're sitting down having your breakfast.
Yeah. So
the next picture is another one. This is different, I guess. It's a bit more like the Miranda, I guess, because the tug part comes closer to the. Well, if you look at it, it looks like it hits it almost.
This is a heavy transport or tug. The other one was just a standard. So this is more probably battle capable, I would assume.
Well, it looks more Miranda-y, especially based on it's got a bulked out secondary hull. It's interesting. Doesn't look a lot different, but
no, but I love the struts on this one. It feels a lot more sturdy than the other one does.
Yeah.
But I think look at the warp engine. I believe the warp engine is actually longer. Oh, maybe not. I'm kind of going back and forth here, but it's got a different colored Bizarre collector. It's gray for some reason.
Although I've got to point out, if you look at the middle picture, the container hits the bottom of the saucer. So slight design flaw.
Oh, it just didn't attach correctly. We're good. All right, so moving on to the next picture. This shows some transport containers.
Don't even know what I'm looking at here.
Now, it's actually pretty interesting with these cargo containers, because even in Starfleet battles, you can get different containers. Some are actually troop transports. Other ones are weapons platforms. They're full of photon torpedoes, so you can
Oh
actually
wow.
really armor out your tug so that it's got a lot of punch to it. It adds additional phaser ones. It adds more photon torpedo bays, all in the tug. So it's a very versatile ship. So we'll actually get into the different cargo containers when we do the full episode because there's some really cool ones.
That's cool. I like that it's NCC 1000, NCC 4000, NCC 6000. Hmm.
Hmm. I
That was
wonder
cool.
if each cargo container has its own registry number. I would imagine so. Or if that matches the ship that it's. I don't know, because then
I,
you have to change it all the time. So
I don't know. Well, they got the Mark 6 shuttle carrier, Mark 6 Starliner, Mark 1 liquids, and Mark 2 dry bulk.
the weapons ones aren't on here, unfortunately. I didn't include them. I should have. Oh well.
That's for the main show. And it's a Doland class, it says at the bottom. It's a Doland class, I guess, carrier or container. And Vic class transport. Just so much information. But next picture. Oh, this is to scale, I'm guessing, with the Dreadnought and the Scout. This is the Hermes, so the deflector isn't actually coming down from the bottom. It's in the strut.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's interesting because obviously it feels roughly the same size, or even bigger and bulkier. That's just because the container. If you check out the container, it's actually smaller, as we mentioned earlier. But it certainly gives it a different feel.
Yeah, and that container attaches much better. It's way far away from the saucers. So, but yeah, this goes back to our Dreadnought episode. It's amazing how small the Dreadnought actually is for being a Dreadnought. Because the standard tug is basically the same size, which is kind of.
Well, it looks like the saucers for the Dreadnought is double as thick.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So there is ways it's bigger. It's just not necessarily obvious. But that's a different episode. We've already done that episode, and you can watch it now
on Trekyards.com. Anyway, moving on to the next picture. This is quite a unique cargo configuration.
Yep.
And it makes me wonder if this. I've never seen this before this picture, so I don't know if this is an actual way that they could attach things. But I mean, if the warp field is confined to three containers long, this would make sense because you could carry more containers. So
It looks ridiculous.
yeah, but it's space, so I mean, there's no.
The final front, no. Well, yeah. I mean, like you say, if the warp field is a bubble, it doesn't go around the ship in a very to the hull thing. It's a bubble, so therefore, as long as it stays sort of the width of the ship, then again theoretically, 3 deep, but the width, then it's feasible. If a bit, I mean, that's got to be structurally a nightmare because really what you're saying is that these pods are connected at very small parts. That's not.
Well, it would be force field technology or magnetic technology, something.
Okay, fine. In the atmosphere, this would be. That would be a weapon. Imagine if that was all one big weapon that you then dropped and it would just then go down.
A ballistic missile.
Yeah. It looks. Dear. It's cool though.
It's neat though because I've seen cargo containers that are half the size, so they have the full length ones and half the size ones as well. And but I've also seen ones that have been like 25 containers long, which if it's in a solar system and you're not going to warp, that makes perfect sense, to be honest. But I think for a warp trip, I think maybe 3 long is the max they could do. So this is a neat configuration.
And the next picture, this is a nice one. This is for a book, I believe. This is
from the Vanguard series of books, which is amazing, yes.
And not only is it great to see the shuttle back and a space station, which is under construction, I guess, but you see the Ptolemy, and you see what is a lot of different 3-pods all around. I guess they need a lot of. Well, I mean, building a station, that makes total sense. To have all these things just waiting there, and then I'm sure there's docking stations that you can just plug one straight in, and there you go, you've got supplies. It's cool. Yeah,
and this is great artwork. I think this, like you said earlier, this is probably Doug Drexler that did this one.
He does do quite a lot of book art, so well done, Doug. If it's you, if it's not,
we apologize and we need to do more research.
Anyway, we love you, Doug. So
all right, so moving on to the next picture. This looks like a standard cargo shipment configuration. We got the 2 tugs and then the escorts, the Larson class from FASA, which is closest to
TOS Miranda, which I always love to see.
Yeah, so that's exactly what escorts are for. They don't need the big Constitution classes doing that kind of job. That's not their position. This is for standard cargo transport. So
it's a convoy, isn't it?
Yeah.
And that's a lot of cargo. But this is great. I love the render. It's very realistic. I know this is not necessarily about the ship, but I love the blue glow of the planet. And actually, if you look at the tugs, they're cage design, aren't they? Because of the points on the nacelles and the solid red as opposed to the rotating facades.
And also the black bars on the saucer are also cage style. On the top there, those black markings.
Yeah, I was wondering what they were. Yeah, it's cool. Makes it look more aggressive.
And here too, you can see the height difference in the bridge of the tug compared to the Miranda class and the Larson, which had like the later style, which was a little bit more lower. So
it's nice, and it looks so naturally fitting in the universe, which is great. I mean, I know it's a classic, decades old design, but it really does fit. Yeah, I'd love to have seen the show.
Yeah, me too. Like I said, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah, so moving on. Yeah, this is definitely a drawn picture. So it's a Ptolemy, but with a different sort of container configuration, I guess with a split hull design. And it's actually, and I had this prepared, it kind of looks like the Enterprise era design, almost, if you get a sense of the two cargo pods and then just, put together. So maybe either John Eves took some inspiration from this picture, or it's just, a good design choice. But yeah, it's just a different style of cargo pod. It's cool.
And it could be, half liquid container, half solid bulk or something. Who knows?
Or this is the matter and antimatter container ship. Gotta keep them separated.
Seems like a dangerous thing to ship them together, though. But yeah. Well, nice. I picked this up at Wonderfest. It's a 1400 scale model of the Ptolemy, and yeah, I'm looking forward to building this. I have the same dreadnought to scale, so it should be exciting. Anyway, I had to throw that in there.
Yeah, cool.
Continue right along to the next picture. Now this is a Larson class again, firing at a D7, which is stealing a cargo container, and the tug looks very wounded. Looks like the Reliant after the battle.
Yeah, that is a bad hit. That is a yeah. That's damn those Klingons. That's all I can say.
It's really interesting though. It makes you wonder what's in the cargo container. Is it?
It's the last of the tribbles. Kapla.
Yes.
It's a terrible joke. Yeah, I mean, there's not much to say. It looks cool. It's a great appeal. Have these action renders. And the next one again is sort of a similar vein. This is again the Ptolemy, but this time it's, I guess, ejected its container to survive against whatever's shooting. They're red disruptors or red bolts, which I don't know what race that would be for.
I don't know, but the name of its delivery failed, and I love that it incorporated the impulse crystal design.
Oh yeah, I noticed that.
I like when they incorporate that into a TOS design. I think it just makes it look that much better.
So this is the half refit, as it were.
Yes.
And one more very subtle detail, which I don't think I hadn't noticed until you just said that. But if you look on the left side of the ship, all the RCS thrusters are firing.
Yes.
That's a really nice. I've never seen those actually on. I didn't know there were two in those positions on the nacelles. That's a nice little detail. It looks very real. Put a lot of thought into this.
Yeah, I never noticed that either, but I love that. I love that a lot.
Cool.
Ooh, so the next one's very beautiful. The MSD of the ship. Oh, look, there's a there's a shuttle bay at the rear of the saucer, and if you look up and just a little bit to the right, you see an RV, a recreational vehicle.
Oh my goodness! Important stuff on the Ptolemy.
Yeah, and it looks like right above the deflector there. There's a Type 15 shuttle pod from Next Generation. Type of ship.
Or just a small variation, but yeah, that's interesting. And a door there, so maybe it goes out the side. Interesting place for a shuttle bay, and again, you need some good piloting skills to be able to come out and not hit the strut. Although it really puts into perspective how small the ship is, because you can physically see the desks and the beds. Yes. This is not a big ship.
And it looks like there's ball phaser turrets there, front and aft. There's probably side ones, but since it's a cross section, you can't see them. And that's very similar to the Starfleet Battles designs, because they do have forward and side firing phasers, which in most of the pictures you see from Starfleet Battles are the ball turrets.
Well, it's one of those things that I know this is not a ship that necessarily needs armaments because it's a cargo ship, but from my point of view, I would have certainly armed them even more because they've got to defend the cargo. I mean, what would you rather lose? Or would you rather, a colony can take care of itself. If this ship can't take care of itself, you're losing more than just, some shields on a colony. I would think this needs to be more defended.
Well, that's why it has the escorts usually when they're doing a convoy, right?
Yeah.
Plus, and I don't know how maneuverable this would be with a pod attached to it. You'd think too much stress might snap that connection or something. So
Mm,
it might not be very maneuverable.
well,
in
that said, but the struts of a warp drive, those struts are much thinner, and they can survive anything almost in terms of speeds. And I'm sure what's being put on. I mean, that's a pretty meaty part that's being connected, and
It's true.
it's going to be heavily magnetic or possibly interlocking pieces. So it's got it's probably stronger than we think.
I also want to point out too that in the middle of the ship there, that orange section, is the main computer core. That's where it is in most of the
Oh, it's
Federation
big.
ships.
Makes
It's
sense.
generally 3 or 4 decks high. So
And you'd want to put it right in the middle, because if that goes, you're screwed. So absolutely. Yeah, it's the next picture is another side shot with semi breakaway one. This is cool. Says the length and height and all that jazz.
and it does have the engineering room right where you said, and also the computer core there in the middle. Now, an interesting thing I noticed about this one is this is a variation or a variant design because it has a shuttle bay right above the cargo attachment.
Oh yeah, that's a great place to put it.
Yeah, I really think that's great. Now, does it say what class of ship this is? I don't think this would be the Ptolemy if it's a variation. It doesn't actually have.
No, there's a lot of shuttles in that bay, far more than the normal TOS. I know they're hidden in a separate section, but in terms of the one bay, that's a pretty busy bay.
The next one's a very interesting one. I thought I got a laugh out of it. You still need Coca-Cola in the future. I'm telling you.
So is this canon?
No, this is cans of Coke. Cans on tug.
Oh,
never
dear.
mind that. It's a bad joke.
Well, this is I think this is obviously a Photoshop of the previous from the older clips. But
Wonderfest, there was a ship that had the cargo containers, and it had different names on the side. Like even the Welland Corporation from Aliens, there was a logo of that on the side of one of the containers. So
awesome. So yeah, totally canon. We know it. Coco in the future. Beautiful. Anyway, the next real photo is another Ptolemy class. This is Ptolemy class. This is NCC 3801. I guess this is orthos, but from a book, I'm guessing. It's cool. There's a lot of details. I don't want to go through them all, obviously, but commissioned 11th of August 2245. So that's the same year as the Connie. Doesn't mean that it's initially. Oh, it says launched. That's interesting. It launched the 17th of November 2244, but then commissioned 2245. That's interesting.
and you got to notice too that this has the newer style bridge on it. It doesn't have the cage style bridge or nacelles. So this is a later version, obviously.
And it was construction commenced 31st of January 2243, so it took 2 years from construction to commission and only a year to launch. That's interesting. But this will be the full episode, obviously. This is just to give you a taste of it. So,
So the next picture,
yeah.
we have a shot of it from the top, well, angled kind of. And it looks like an older style bridge again.
But there's one very cool detail. If you look at the side of the bridge, they've actually got the ball turrets as they would in the motion picture. So this is obviously a next step on, but it's fun to see those on the ship.
Well, yeah, and if you play Starfleet Battles, you know that they do have the ball turrets on those ships as well. So I mean, it's a natural progression towards the motion picture era. So very cool.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, it's just a nice render. I mean, that shows it. Yeah, it works. Although is that a bulkier cargo pod than some of the other ones we've seen? Because we've seen some relatively thin ones.
Yeah, it does look a little bit bigger, doesn't it?
Yeah. So the next photo. This is a bit confusing. This says Ptolemy class Starship transport tug, but it's. So is this saying that it's So if this is the tug part, the container, but that's got 2 warp engines. So does that mean the whole ship has 4 warp engines?
Yes, this is one of the transport variants. This adds extra power, of course. It says at the bottom there that it's ship engagements and planetary bombardments. So it also has a movie era style deflector on the front. You notice that?
Oh yeah, absolutely. So if they split this away, though, you'd lose a lot of functionality, wouldn't you? Or you gain a lot of functionality, I guess, with the 2. And it says, as the container was not specifically designed for independent subluminal travel, the final top speed of the containers were limited to warp 3.25. The containers themselves, that's interesting. Maybe it's completely independent. So it's got 23 dual phaser turrets. So I guess this is definitely adding some tech to it, isn't it?
Yeah, you can see the phaser ball turrets on the top view there.
Wow, that is
and the bottom.
heavy armed. Jesus.
Yeah.
Oy.
There's also some with additional photon torpedo launchers as well. This isn't one of them, but yeah, like I said, you can really versatile. Like the versatility of the ship is amazing. You
Yeah.
can really.
At the bottom it says the battle container.
Yeah.
Yep, that's nice. I really dig this. I'd love to see a render. If anyone has a render, send it in. This is awesome. Yeah.
I love how these ships, like I said, they're versatile. They're plug and play. For whatever mission you want, you can just attach a cargo container on. You can have troops. You can have weapons. It's awesome. Yeah. So very, like I said, one of my favorite ships for good reason.
Sure.
All right. So the next picture is just from Franz Joseph, technical manual. Has the different cargo container types there, the Mark V, personnel, dry bulk liquids. So
it's just cool to see. Yeah, transport / tug class. But the next one is a bit more detailed. This is again from the Franz Joseph book, a bit more information, and I gotta say the front view looks very I don't know, odd. The angle of the warp nacelle certainly is a strange one, in that perspective anyway.
Yeah, they're a little bit lower slung than the Miranda style, TOS Miranda style, but I think that might be to incorporate the warp field around the.
Yes, that makes sense.
To encompass those. So.
And it says maximum safe cruising speed of warp 6 and emergency speed warp 8. So pretty speedy, really. Cool.
All right, so the next one. Oh, this is kind of neat, actually. This is the JJ version.
Stuart said kind of neat. That's radical.
Well, this looks amazing. Those JJ engines definitely are designed for a tug. I think they look great. I'm not just saying that in a bad way. I mean, this looks amazing. They don't really suit the Constitution class aesthetic with the design of the secondary hull, and it just didn't work for that. But this looks amazing.
Is it because of the bulk of the carried the container part? You think that counterbalances the bulkiness of the nacelles?
No, because you take that container off and make that a Miranda class. I think those engines on that kind of ship look amazing. And the profile of this ship, much like the profile of the JJ Enterprise, the profile view is amazing. I love the way that looks. It looks like a hot rod. It looks good. Every other angle just ruins it for me. But this one I can see from multiple angles, and it just looks amazing. So, bravo.
And they've got a front torpedo launcher, just as the refit does. It's cool. It's different. I mean, it looks very similar. You know, it's just JJ-fied. I mean, there's nothing much to complain about. There's not much details to it, honestly. So yeah, it's all right.
And even the dorsal that connects to the cargo container, look how it kind of tapers along longer. I like that.
Yeah.
Look. I like that look a lot. So
it's just sleeker, isn't it? It's just an overall slightly sleeker design. The next one though is a more Canon style motion picture refit. This is sort of a lower poly model, but it's the refit nacelles with a refit style and a very strange container front bit. I guess that's a deflector. Although again, kind of strange, and a torpedo launcher, I guess. Although the detailing's a bit off. It's different. I think it still works.
Yeah, I like how they've kind of the stretch look goes straight down like they did on the TOS, but they kind of angle out a little bit.
That probably gives more flexibility in what sort of containers they can have.
Yeah, it would almost make sense that those are variable pitch struts. Like you could adjust them depending on the size of the container or the attachments that the container has. So
it's cool.
Yeah. All right, so the next picture is very cool. It's got a tug there without a container attached to it, but looks like it's in trouble because we got Klingons and we got a Connie and a destroyer there. So solid class.
4D7s though, that's kind of a battle and a half.
Yeah.
They might be screwed.
Well, the picture says Organia, so.
Oh, well, truce then.
Interesting.
It's a great shot. I love the lighting. And the I mean, look how good those D7s look. I mean, just great design.
It looks like a screen capture almost from a TOS episode if they would have included it. And I would have loved to see it, but
that's cool.
Yeah,
no, it looks great. So. It's nice. It's nice to see the Saladin or destroyer, in shots. It's just such a nice variation of the ship. Yeah. So the next one, well, this is just a fleet of tugs, single container, but yeah, it's a whole fleet, and there's also the cage and classic version.
Well, that cage ship isn't a tug though. That one I can't remember the class of either, but there's 2 warp engines on the bottom of the
Oh,
dorsal.
no, I see it. There's the deflector, isn't there? Yeah, no, I'm wrong. Oh, didn't see that.
Can't recall the name of that class, so I apologize.
But yeah, whole fleet. It's a lot of supplies.
Yeah, and really, you could have done with 2 tugs, had like carrying 2 containers instead of 4 tugs, but who knows why they did that. So.
Or just one with that massive pile behind it.
And here we're on the last picture, and it's another cage style. And it seems that they used the cage style ships quite long after the fact, because like the hull had a 40-year life expectancy, so that makes sense.
Yeah,
it's a tug. It's not going into battle or anything, hopefully. So I mean, for just tugging stuff around just different locations for starbase construction and stuff, I think it's a great idea to use older ships.
Yeah. So a pretty simple ship, really. But a neat design. It works, it fits, and I look forward to seeing what more information it has. Well, that's pretty much it. Any closing thoughts on this ship?
Nope. I'm just looking forward to doing the complete episode on this because there's a lot to talk about on this ship.
And that is it, guys. If you like the show, give this video a like, and if you enjoy our 2 weekly shows, then give the channel a subscribe. Because then you can know what we're doing and keep getting updates, and it's very useful. And if you want to do more, then share this video on Facebook and all of our videos, and Twitter and anywhere you know there are like-minded Trekkies that would enjoy the show. So that is it for another week. Until next time, guys, see ya.
Bye, everybody.